In solving for the derivative of a function using the definition of the derivative, we first need to transform the given function to this one. So for instance, if we have y is equal to the function of x, the first thing that we need to do is replace x with x plus delta x, and also y with y plus delta y. So in this case, this will give us y plus delta y is equal to the function of, instead of x, we replace x with x plus delta x. Okay, so to illustrate, let's have an example. Let's have an example equation. So let's say y is equal to 3x minus 5. So the first thing that we need to do is replace y with y plus delta y. Okay, so this is equal to 3, and we replace x with x plus delta x. So this becomes x plus delta x. And we just copy the terms that doesn't involve a variable in this equation. So let's just copy -5. Okay, then we now want to slowly transform this equation into like this. So in this case, this is the limit of the delta y over delta x as delta x approaches 0. So we want this to just have delta y and also be divided by delta x. So to isolate delta y here, we need to transpose or remove this y from this side of the equation. So to do that, we can subtract y to both sides of the equation, and this will just cancel out y here. And all we are left here is delta y is equal to, we can now distribute 3 here to all the terms inside this parenthesis, and this becomes 3x plus 3 delta x. So minus 5. And what's y? Y is equal to 3x minus 5. So we just replace this. Y is equal to 3x minus 5. So let's just copy this part. This is 3x plus 3 delta x minus 5 minus 3x minus negative. This becomes positive 5. Okay, so this simplifies to, this has 3x. We can now cancel this, 3x and negative 3x. The same with 5 and negative 5. And all we are left here is just 3 delta x. And this is now equal to delta y. So we can now divide both sides by delta x so that we can have delta y over delta x. So let's divide delta x here also for the other side of the equation. And this part simplifies to just simply 3. So delta y over delta x is equal to 3. But we need also the limit. So we can just put the limit here as delta x approaches 0. And do that also in this side of the equation. So the limit of delta x approaches 0. And if you can still recall, the limit of any constant is just equal to the constant, because there are no delta x here that we can replace with 0. So this simplifies to just 3. And if you can recall that this one is just equal to this one, which is the derivative of y with respect to x. So this means that the derivative of this function is now equal to 3. So we can now write this as dy, or the derivative of y with respect to x, is now equal to 3. Okay, let's have another example. So let's say we now have y is equal to 3 minus 2x minus, or let's say plus x squared. So in this case, how can we solve this? So the same thing as what we have done from our first example. We just need to replace y with y plus delta y, and all of the x with x plus delta x. So this one doesn't involve any variable, so let's just copy 3 minus 2. And we now replace x with x plus delta x. Okay, so plus, and we also replace this x here with x plus delta x. Let's remove this part. Oops, let's remove this part. This has a square. This is squared. So let's simplify this. This becomes, let's just copy this, 3 minus and distribute negative 2 inside this parenthesis. This becomes negative 2x. And this becomes negative 2 delta x. Okay, so we add and we expand this part. So this is just equal to x plus delta x times another x plus delta x. And if you can recall, we can now expand this using the FOIL method. So this simplifies to x squared plus 2 times x delta x plus delta x squared. Okay, so this is now 3 minus 2x minus 2 delta x. And we can now distribute positive to these 3 terms inside this parenthesis. So x squared plus 2x delta x plus delta x squared. So if you can recall, this is still y plus delta y. And we want to isolate delta y here. So we need to subtract both sides by y. Or we just need to transpose this to this side of the equation. So this becomes minus y. Or what is our y here? Y is 3 minus 2x plus x squared. So we can just replace this by 3 minus 2x plus x squared. Okay? If we distribute negative here in the so if we distribute negative in all of the terms inside this equation, this becomes negative 3 and we have 3 here, and this would cancel out. So the same here, this would become positive 2x. So positive 2x, and we have negative 2x here, so this would also cancel out. And this would become negative x squared. And we have x squared here, so this would cancel out. So all we are left here is negative 2 delta x plus 2x delta x plus delta x squared. So this is now equal to the delta y. So the next step that we need to do is divide both sides by delta x. So divide this by delta x. And as you can see here, we can now remove delta x to this polynomial. So if this is the case, we can now remove delta x here. So this simplifies to negative 2. And this, we have remaining of 2x. And here is just 1 delta x. So if you distribute delta x here, the result would be this polynomial here. Okay, so we have delta x. This is delta y over delta x. We can now cancel delta x here, and all we are left with is this one, and all we need to do is just place the limit of this one as delta x approaches 0. So the same with the other side. We have the limit of delta x approaches 0. Okay? So this simplifies to the derivative of y with respect to x. In this one, you can just replace delta x with 0. So this simplifies to negative 2 plus 2x plus 0. Or we could just disregard 0, and this is now our final answer.